Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing this evening? My name is Lawrence Slatty, also known as Mr. International, host of Financial Independence Through Small Multifamily Investing. Tonight we have a special guest, right? Life does not always go the way we planned it, right? And Christine had some things going on, and her life, the things are going straight forward, and something just went sideways, right? Went sideways. But before she gets to her story, we're going to go around the screen and everybody introduce themselves. So we're going to start to my right, your left. We're going to start with Manny. Go ahead, Manny. Introduce yourself.
Do you want me to introduce?
Yeah, just introduce yourself. Tell us a little about yourself.
Okay. I'm new to this. I just checking out, and so I live near Washington, D.C. and interested in making some money.
Okay. Okay, good. What do you do? What do you do? What's your
I'm in
W-2?
the computer field
Okay.
and
Let's see.
working
Okay.
as a project manager.
Okay. Very good. Okay, Sam. Go ahead, Sam. Talk a little about yourself.
Hey, I'm Sam Skidwell. I do several things. My full-time job. I do construction research, mainly for the military. But I'm also an investor and a business owner. My main business is construction material supply. So I have a construction material supply company in Illinois. We mainly supply materials for public work. So University of Illinois, Chicago Public Schools, things like that. And the reason I started that business is so I can build up more funds for investing in real estate. So nice to meet everybody.
Right. And we're going to hear from Chris Shabazz because she's going to be introducing her own self, right? When she talks about how she did her story.
Yeah.
So my name is Lawrence Slatty, and I'm here in the Bronx, New York. I'm retired, and I have a two-unit building, two-family building down in Lower. And in addition to that, I was on contract this year for eight-unit building in North Carolina. Deal fell through, but that moves on. I also am a host of this podcast, this show here, and I'm also having my mastermind dinner in Philadelphia, September 30th at the Capitol Grill on Broad Street. So, and we got Nicole Pendergrass here too. Nicole, introduce yourself, Nicole. How you doing? Welcome.
Doing good. Sorry for getting on the train. So it's really loud. Okay, I am Nicole Pendergrass. I am a small multifamily investor, small multifamily mentor, podcast host, and have known Laddie for umpteen million years. Hey, Christy.
Hey, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Thank you. I was going to call you today too. Well, thank you, Nicole. So, like I said before, right? Life does not always follow script right, but it's those moments when the adversity, the situation changes, right? That's when you discover your true strength, right, and determination. And tonight, my guest, who is Christine Shabazz, I met Christine about 2 years ago, right? We were in a deal together, and as I've gotten to know her, Christine is like a rabid dog, right? She's not gonna let go of you, let go of what she's doing. She's gonna keep the pressure on, right? She's determined. But what happened to Christine was that she poured her heart and soul into an investment property she bought down Texas, and there's a fire.
And I lost it. Yeah.
Fire, and the fire consumed the whole building down to the ground, right? But she's here to talk about redemption, resilience, right? How to you know to crawl into a show with adversity.
Oh
right?
my gosh, stop it, Lawrence. Way too much. You know, I guess when you're going in it through it, you don't realize it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. That's okay.
Go ahead, Christine.
Yep.
Welcome.
All right, great. So this is really laid back, guys. So whatever questions you have, please ask. You know, I left corporate America after 24 years. And I did everything I could in that company. That was with one company, 24 years. And I left there. And when I left is when I started my real estate journey. So I became an independent contractor, but I also started in real estate at that time. And so that first purchase was a single family home in Atlanta. Oh, I got it for $32,000. And I put like 25,000 in it. And maybe 2 years later, I sold it for 190,000. And that was 2016. No. Yeah, 2015, 2016. And I hem and hawed and looked over, just absolutely terrified to, I wait until I leave my quote unquote security of a job to go and, spend money and buy a house and remodel it and get it ready, right? So I made that purchase with my 401k money, which I had moved to a self-directed IRA, and use that IRA money to make the purchase, do the rehab, do everything, right? So I left that tenant in there. Easy tenant. Man, she was easy. I was really blessed with her. And so I sold it and I bought a condo in Florida. Now, I didn't know what I know today. I would have just pulled the equity out and did that, went and bought the condo, but I didn't. So I did a full rehab on the condo. That was my first time doing a full rehab on the condo, on anything, right? This is just my second purchase. I'm pretty certain I had a slight panic attack once I saw all the walls were down and you're like looking at like just the bareness of a property. So I did a full rehab on that out of state, right? Because I was living in Atlanta and purchased the first single family home there. So that was good. I could, kind of stop by, see it, do all that good stuff. But the condo was out of state. So I used those self-directed funds and just rinse and repeat, right? And that was a challenge, up and down the highway, trying to find the contractors, doing your interviews, staying in the condo while it's being rehabbed to a certain degree. I worked from home, so it was easy for me to stay there while it was being rehabbed, right? And so I thought, dang, this buy, get it ready, get it occupied, get it sold is getting real old, right? I still had not learned or dug deep enough to find out or realize I could pull the equity out and do something with that. So I was buying, selling, and I was getting exhausted, and it was only two. I had only done two. So I saw this guy on LinkedIn, Jerome Myers, and I started following him, and he was talking about multifamily. And I thought, man, that's a game changer. One roof with multiple doors, sign me up. And so I followed him a little while and kind of learned about him. And I realized he used to offer these multifamily boot camps. So I signed up and I learned multifamily. And I was like, man, that would be great if all I need is one, right? You know, one small one, because everybody wants the big ones. And this one I wanted to do myself, like no self-directed funds, you know, get it in my business name, get the funding. So I knew it was more work to that. So I went through this boot camp and met Nicole. No, I met Nicole through Jerome, but I don't think it was the boot camp. I know I met Lawrence through there because that's how we ended up on our first deal together. And that was about 14, maybe 12, a 12-week program, and learned a lot. I mean, it was really intense. And we came out of that boot camp, and I don't know if you've ever felt this, but you've learned something new and then they let you go to apply it. And I was like, okay, what do I do now? After all those weeks of going through the education and the role playing and, you know, a business plan and doing a team project, you know, when I was done, I was so excited, but yet I was like, okay, I don't know where to start. I know that sounds weird. But at the end of the class, he had a property to sell, and it was an 8-unit in um, North Carolina, excuse me. And that's when I partnered up with some of the classmates, some of the cohorts, and Lawrence, right? And you talk about an experience. We went through that, lenders, you know, getting our cash funds together and the documentation and, you know, ownership. We went through a lot. That was a great learning experience. And we were like this close to the closing table. Met weekly with the lender, addressed all concerns they may have had, and we just could not get it across the line. Now, it was an older property. It needed some work, but we had a plan for the work, right? But we tried a couple of lenders and we just couldn't get it across the line. So then came the work of dissolving everything, right? Because we had this partnership together, we had a bank account together, etc. And that, I think it kind of dampened some of the spirit of the group, and, you know, almost just kind of threw in the towel. And so that's why we split everything. So I want to stop right there. Does anyone have any questions so far?
So you talked about, Christine, the boot camp, right? So now when you came out of the boot camp, right, you said you got this feeling of, you know, this refreshing feeling, I guess, right? That's how I'm put it,
I'm
right?
gonna go get it, right?
Right. So now, what steps did you take after you came out of boot camp? What steps did you take to go get it? I understand what you did when we were partnered, but what did you do before you even met me? What were the things you did that you put into action? What were some action steps you did to go get it?
I started researching properties, applying what I learned. And some of the things that he taught us were, you know, brokers was an avenue, but he wasn't a big advocate of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to kind of go out there and get it ourselves with different marketing techniques. And one that worked for me was writing the owners of the property. So that meant you had to do a little research. You had to find the property, the address, the property owner, write them and hopefully get a response. It was a patient process, right? Because it wasn't quick. And it took me trying different mailing templates that I learned from the class, because the template that was given to us really was not the way I speak, right? And so I revamped it. I tried different mailers. I was keeping track on my spreadsheet, who I mailed, when I mailed it, and what letter I mailed. Was it letter 1, 2, or 3? And I kept it really basic because it was just me, right? Well, initially. And then when he presented the deal, that was kind of handed to us, right? Because it was already, we knew the owner, we knew some details about it. So that one was kind of handed over to me, or to us. Hey, Kyle, thanks for joining. What else did you ask me, Lawrence?
No, that's what I asked you.
Yeah. So I'm in IT, so I use Excel a lot. I
Have them edge you on. If you don't know what edging is, that's basically how them tease you until you're about to come.
Okay, I think he's on the
that's
live. Yeah. So I use Excel a lot. And so no fancy smancy stuff here. I just want you to know. Plug some information in, make it work for you in an Excel spreadsheet to help you track. So I always had a small moving pipeline, okay, that letter didn't work. Oh, I got 3 responses from this, even if they said, I'm not interested, but I'll hold your information. That's a response, right? So I was like, okay, that verbiage worked and got their attention a little better. I never went through a broker. I don't, and I don't know why. Nothing against that, but I was getting responses, so I kept going that way. So I'm sorry, Nicole, I think you had a question.
Yeah, I guess one is kind of backtracking to Florida. Just wondering what made you choose Florida as the market, and then why did you end up choosing a condo? Was there anything specific about that? Was that because it was long distance? You thought it would be maybe, I guess, easier to manage because it's in a bigger building? Yeah, what just like your thought process on picking Florida and picking the market
Sure.
in Florida, and were you managing it remotely and all of that?
Okay, good. So this was before, Florida was before the, like my whole real estate knowledge classes journey. Okay, so for Atlanta and Florida, I literally just jumped out there. So why Florida? It was on the golf course, and I had just started with golf. I had been to St. Augustine a couple of times before, so I like the city, right? And it's a short drive from Atlanta to St. Augustine, 4.5, just enough, right? And this condo was on the 8th hole. And that's all I needed, Nicole. It was close. I was into golf, and it was on the 8th hole. That was it. I was like, all right, that sounds good.
All right, well, that makes sense. And second question, with the 8 unit, since you guys knew the owner and had like a pretty good relationship with him, he took you through the process of learning how to do multifamily. What was such the holdup in getting that property closed, what was the main concern from the lenders, that they wouldn't close on the property?
Yeah.
Was the debt he had not assumable? Was there nothing else that could be done where he would work more with you guys since you were his students, kind of, to kind of get that over the line? Like, what was that?
Yeah.
I'm so confused what the holdup was on it.
Yeah. So that's good. Thank you for that. Because we were hoping for a little more consideration, maybe. But okay, so what was the issue with the lender? There was a foundational issue. They felt foundational issue that they wanted fixed before we closed on the loan. So we went back to the owner and said, this is their concern. And it was not his concern. He had the property, had not experienced, any issues, and, made it very clear he wasn't going to fix it. And however, we had a plan for it, but the lenders did not want to agree on it. The other part, Nicole, was, you can tell it, I won't say mismanaged, but just not kept up. And so we obviously could not hide and did not try to hide that. We had the inspection, we had the results from that, and we had an action plan for those issues. And it wasn't a lot financially because it was 4 of us, right? So the spread was pretty good. We did ask for owner financing. That was turned down. And of course, we didn't know if it was turned down because he wanted a lump sum so he could go do the next thing he wanted to do, if it still had a mortgage on it. We did not bring up assuming, right, the loan. Lawrence, I don't think we brought that up, nor did he. And so when that fell through, I do know that one of us attempted to do it again on his own, and it still did not work.
Okay, there's so much I want to.
It's okay, and I'm just trying to be careful, as you can imagine.
Yes, I understand. And so there's so many other questions that I have, and so much more I want to know. But I guess one of the biggest things for me is, as a property owner, we all know that valuations, condition, all of that stuff, it doesn't matter what we think as the owner. If we're trying to buy, sell, refinance, it depends. It matters what the bank thinks.
What the bank
says.
Or
finding a different lender who will think otherwise, or bringing them proof that the foundation is not an issue,
right,
by whatever other contractors you have to go through. So if every contractor that you found is saying that there's foundation issues, then how can the current owner deny foundation issues and then refuse to give some type of owner concession or get it remedied?
Yeah, no, he gave a concession on the roof and said, based on his engineer experience, that wasn't an issue.
Okay. I guess sellers, no matter the seller, you're always going to be optimistic about the addition of your property.
Right. And
but how would you then sell it to anybody else Because that's gonna be the same issue that comes up again with another lender.
And I don't know if he still owns it, you know, if it ever sold. I do know he was wanting the funds to move to a build up project, you know, he was doing, so, and then that faded. So anyway, we attempted that 8-unit in South Carolina as a joint venture, and then one of us decided to go back and try again through a different lender, and that, you know, fell through as well. So fast forward, we've all, you know, kept in touch, right? We still meet up, maybe it was, you know, kind of every 2 weeks, now once a month, and started our own thing. So I kept with those same processes, right? So that consistency was still there. I'm still writing, I'm still looking, I still have my markets that I learned to look for during that boot camp. So I kept with that same criteria, you know, up to 50 units. I was okay with C value properties, you know. I love a good strong come up, boy, you know, a property that's, you know, mismanaged. You see the grass is high and, you know, the paint may be chipping a little bit, and I just love to just breathe life back into it. But, you know, how do you do that with an apartment building, right? And so I'm driving around, you know, taking different routes home from church. And I went back. Oh, I forgot to say that I moved from Georgia to Texas, right, during COVID. And I had a contract in Texas years ago, and I worked in this town, Wichita Falls. And I said, let me, you know, take a ride up here and see how it's going, and the place I used to work, et cetera, the hospital. And that's how I found the 8-unit, simply driving the streets in Wichita Falls, right? I had a great time in that little town, and I met some really cool people. So I was just driving through, taking addresses. That's all I did. And I kept with that same template that got me the most hits because I was tracking it in my Excel spreadsheet. And sure enough, this owner called Thanksgiving Day 2022. And almost dropped the turkey in the fryer. Like, you know, if you ever fried the turkey, you're supposed to ease it in there. And I knew that area code when the number popped up, and I almost dropped the turkey in the grease. But anyway, we talked about it, and he was like, you know, how much you want to, what's your offer? I mean, just right out the blue. And I'm giving him a quote per door, because that's the language, right? And he said, listen, 250,000 for 8 units. And so I had to back into it and got them down to 2.25 pending due diligence, right? And I sent off my LOI, my letter of intent. You should have saw me. I was like, I didn't have any, I had money, but I wanted the bank money, right? So I hadn't even had that relationship yet. I found the deal first and sent the LOI. He signed it. So I was like, okay, I need some money. So I'm talking to Lawrence, I'm talking to Sharon, I'm talking to people. I think even Nicole, I shared it initially, and got a bank relationship with a local bank. And that's another thing I learned is if you go local, now I have a Regions account, I have a Wells Fargo account, But in Wichita Falls, there's, you know, First National Bank, there's First Bank of this, or, you know, credit unions. So I went local. I had no criteria. I passed a bank, I went in there and I asked about their commercial loans. The guy gave me the paperwork and we just started talking. That was it. We called, we talked, we did a lot over the phone and email. He was interested in the property. He knew the property. He knew it needed work. He knew it needed to, you know, be rehab to, you know, so the community would feel better about it as well. So I get through this LOI, I get the inspection done, I get the price down to 190 for 8 units. And then I started working with the lender, right? So let me see if I can show this one. Where am I? Okay. So can you see this one? So this is the Clark house. And the previous owners painted it yellow and they ran out of paint. They did it themselves. And this is a classic, I don't care, this is the way it's gonna be type building, right? So you go in this door here, and there's 4 units on this side. Can you see my marker? All my pointing tools are not, they're not pointing. How about this? Yeah, okay, so on this side is 4 units. And then this door over here has 4 units, right? And then, let me see, front left, before patio. I can't get into the fire view here. And I think that's what those are. Okay, I won't do that one yet. So that, you know, obviously it needed some help, right? So I had a business plan, how much, you know, I was doing 10,000 per unit on the rehab. I had a great price for the exterior paint. You know, older homes here in Texas do not have gutters. They don't have gutters. So, you know, the new roof with the gutters and the downspouts and all this good stuff, right? And I hired local contractors. I put all the money, my intent was to keep the money in the community, right? So community bank, community Wichita Falls contractors, you know, it was not individually metered. So that was another cost factored into that. And so the loan that I had was the acquisition and the rehab. So I had to make draws on the rehab. And that part was really easy. You know, I would submit my quote so that they could, my little contract with the contractor, showing the work that would be done, how much time. They went out and took pictures before. They had the paperwork. They made the check payable to them in piece, in parts. You know, you don't pay folks 100% in advance and then they walk away. And then upon midway through, had to take pictures, and then upon completion, had to take pictures. What questions? Any questions? Nope. Okay.
Your question? Question.
Uh,
Yeah, Sam.
uh, I didn't even know that the class went after the 8 unit. Was that the second group that you were a part of, Christine?
I think we were the second cohort. Yeah.
Okay. Man, that's amazing. I'm kind of jealous and proud of y'all at the same time that y'all like immediately
Yeah,
went.
we jumped. He presented it at the end, after the presentations, and we had our graduation. He presented it then, and we were just pinging each other in the chat. We were like, let's do it. And jumped right into it, man.
Okay. Yeah, the whole story is really interesting. So I'm locked in right now. So
Oh, it gets better, honey.
So Christine,
Gets better.
when you got this everything done, did you have to get permits from the city also? Or something had to be is Texas that which is called permit city or just
Yes. And so okay, you're going too far. No, but yes, and I opted not to pull them and have the contractors pull their permits and just add it to the cost. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to go up there and deal with it, because if anything was out of order, or the insurance wasn't on file, or the bond wasn't on file, I'm not going. Nope. So I had them do it, and if it was anything delinquent, pending, or that they needed to update, they had to do it. The city dealt with them right then. Nicole?
Hey, so yeah, I completely understand that. I've dealt with that in contractors and pulling permits, and actually with them pulling the wrong permits and we having to pay to get the right permit pulled.
Right.
That's a whole different thing. Yeah, and in New York City, pulling permits is super expensive. But any case, with Wichita Falls, correct me if that's wrong, but that's like a tertiary type of market.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So that's a concern that a lot of people have, is being able to find enough professionals or enough product or enough service providers in tertiary markets where you're not stuck with one, and you have enough that you can actually vet them and have a few different bids and go with the best bid as far as like how well you could vet. So did you have an issue with finding the contractors and other people to do the work on the property, or did you have enough supply where people were willing to travel from out of Wichita Falls? I know you said you wanted to keep it local as far as
Right.
the contractors and service providers. So how was that process of finding and vetting enough contractors to give you a variety of bids?
Okay, good. So I went to Lowe's and Home Depot contractor section, and the folks behind those counters will put into the system the project that you're wanting to accomplish. I need HVAC, I need electrician, I need a general, sheetrock, and they put it in their system. So I went to Lowe's and Home Depot, and when they put it in, my phone started ringing, and then I started meeting and documenting, right? Because everyone's getting your email address and they're sending you their bids. And so Wichita Falls is a military medical university town. And there's another city just north of Wichita Falls called Burke Burnett. And that's another one that's slowly growing, right? And it's right between, when I say military towns, it's Air Force and Army, right? And so those two units really populate there. But in Burke Burnett, there's also like a construction company, construction parts. The name is escaping me, but so I started getting those hits, Nicole, and I felt like I had enough to, to make a decision, yes. And in terms of, I believe you also asked about like getting the tenant, like was it enough to get the tenant base, the professional base there? And that 8 unit is in the medical district, like literally blocks from the hotel. Don't even need a car, you could walk. And so my focus and my market were the residents, locums, and nurses that come in, because that's very heavy for them there. And even the medical staff at the military bases train there. So that was my focus with this 8 unit. And I know that market because I am IT at hospitals. So I'm always seeing them and hearing the conversation, and so that's where that idea came from. Okay, good questions. So you saw the property, right? Wait a minute. Can I go back 1 second? Is that okay? Because I want to show you. Not that one. Okay, so this is the condo. Oh, I got too many screens up. Let me try this one. So this is the condo. I just kind of put all the pictures. I mean, it was just kind of plain Mary Jane down here. I don't know if you can see the white kitchen. It's just really plain, right? 2 bedroom, 2 bath on the 8th hole. And that was my view from the patio. So that's why I did it. And that's the golf course back there. I thought I was doing something. And then exterior, interior. Would this play possibly? Is that playing for you guys? Okay, that's me talking to my girlfriend. So that's the work that I had done. So you could, the flooring. I don't know why I didn't go in there. So that's all I had to show you from that one.
That's nice.
So
the exterior too, or did I miss that?
no, so the exterior, the exterior Florida, they take care of that with the HOA. I didn't have to do anything. That was my door. I couldn't change the door because all the doors had to be uniform as a part of the association. And I was on the first floor. I was wondering how that would come across, being on the first floor and you have people on top of you, but it was a very quiet community. And it was, like I said, right there on the 8th hole, right? So, so that was that, right? Again, self-directed IRA funds, that's what I use that. And then coming to Texas, going to Wichita Falls, finding that property, mailing that owner, and I got his information from the tax records, right? That's public information. And getting that LOI sent, and then with a negotiated price, giving yourself time for your due diligence. And I changed the contract, the wording just a little bit for the due diligence to give me 15, instead of 15 days, 15 business days. So my weekends weren't eaten up, because I quickly learned that Wichita Falls, they work Monday through Friday. Saturday, you know, I'm thinking contractors are working. So I was like, I need business days, not days. And so he agreed, that was fine. And, you know, I closed April 22nd of 23. So conversation started Thanksgiving Day of 22. And I had, we closed April of 23. So now I have it, what now, right? It's like, you close and it's like, okay, you got to get going. You got to put that business plan to work. And so you saw the property. I mean, I wasn't hitting any home runs with the rent there. And he had to evict 3 people. And during that November conversation to the month we closed, he evicted 3 people, and he asked me if I wanted to replace them, because he had a list of folks calling. And I said, no, I need to get in there and revamp those, you know, apartments and get the tenant I want in there. So we had to leave it empty to make that happen. And so he was like, you sure you need, you know, some money coming in so you can, you know, help offset that? I was like, no, we have a timeline, we're going to do it, right? So we started demoing those 3 units, and man, issues just started unfolding, right? Pulling up the old carpet, stuff off the walls, okay, that's fine. And then it was like bugs all over the place, right? And okay, let me get pest control out here. So they start spraying and doing their thing for the bugs. Well, you know, when you apply pest control, they run to the next unit. And so the other tenants were like, what the hell's going on, all these bugs? And I did tell them, however, I think I was a good owner. I told them way ahead of time, this is what's, you know, coming. You need to be out of the house. You know, we can do your units as well if you let us in and, you know, do what we need to do, but you need to stay off the property. And so we got some participation with that, and others, you know, stuck it out. And I quickly, my idea of rehabbing and getting that medical professional into the rehab units while I continue to rehab the others, quickly faded, because I realized I just needed to get them all out of there. They all needed to go. I'm not chasing rent. I'm not coming to your door. You're behind. I'm not trying to catch up. So I looked up the law, And because they were month to month due to the COVID change and they allowed the landlords to go month to month, I gave them 60 days to depart. And I gave them social resources, county and city resources. I had a social worker come on site under a parking, like covered parking, to help them get into programs that'll help them with rent or finding a job or both. But they had to depart, right? So they were all served. They all complied except one. I had to do cash for keys for her. You guys familiar with that? That's just what it sounds like. You give them some money for the keys and they have to get out. So, mercy. So I got it all vacant, right? So I'm looking at my plan, I'm looking at my timeline, and I'm like, well, this is more aggressive than I planned, right? But I can get moving. That was the deal. It was like, we can get moving now. So I had to revamp. So now, I could basically work from the top down, work on from the roof and any windows that needed to be done, secure that, lock that in, because I didn't want them, if they're working inside, they need to be out of the rain. The stuff inside needs to be protected. So you work from the top down. And so we got it all demoed, trash out, carpet out, everything out, pest control 2 and 3 times again. And once it was done, I'm telling you, it was the most beautiful exposed brick chimneys, fireplace chimneys in the apartment. The fireplace, it was covered with shiplap, which is beautiful. But so now that I got the stuff off the walls and the floors, it was just like a beautiful antique gold mine, if you will. The shiplap, it was just ridiculous. It was beautiful. So some of the apartments had exposed brick in the kitchen, and I'm thinking how to play this out, right? All this stuff I was gonna cover because I didn't know it was there, and now I want to leave it. So anyway, so we had some foundation issues. I wanted to make sure we're done. So we worked on that. While we were working on that, I'm ordering the panels for so the electricity can be individually per unit. And again, this is 23. So there's still like certain things were still behind. To get the unit pack for the they call it a panel for the electricity, so it could be individual by unit, was behind 6 months. So I had to order that as soon as I got everybody out of there, I had to put the deposit on that, even though I know it's not coming for another 6 months. So things are moving, right? I'm starting to work. I'm starting to pull a draw. Contractors are working. Everyone's keeping their commitment. And so I'm not there every day because they're rolling. It wasn't necessary for me to be there every day. So I'm home and I'm 2 hours from Wichita Falls. So October 24th. So I closed April 22nd, October 24th. I get a phone call from the local guy who was helping me. His name is Rodney. And he's he's panicked. He said, "It's up in flames, Miss Chris. It's up in flames." I said, "Rodney, what are you talking about?" He said, "The building is on fire." I hung up the phone, slammed the computer, grabbed my bag. Now the fire department is calling me. Is this Christine Shabazz, owner of, the address 1822 11th Street? Yes, it is. We have a 3-alarm fire at your residence. Are you at home? I'm at my home, and and I had to tell them I'm on my way. I'm 2 hours though. So in the midst of that phone call, the fire marshal, the water company, the electricity company, I mean, everybody's calling, right? And I don't remember stopping at a light, a sign, anything. I'm telling you, it's nothing but the Lord that just got me there, because I do not remember stopping for anything. So I get there, and it was unbelievable. The heat, the intensity of the heat, the lady's house next door, it like singed her siding. I mean, it was unbelievable. And the fire marshal believes, because there was evidence behind the building of beer bottles, cigarettes, and something else, but you can tell someone was there, in that one spot. And the point of entry, because the doors were secured, that was another thing we had to put on every window, do not trespass, because if you secured the doors but did not put up the signs, and a person was on your property, to a homeless person, I couldn't do anything for trespassing because I had no signs to say do not trespass. So the police told us, because it's vacant, put the signs up, protect the windows, protect the doors on the first floor. So that's what we did. So the fire marshal said when he got there, the back door left was kicked open. And he said that was the point of entry. And so up it went. I mean, I'm trying to get my pictures because I'm sure you have questions. I mean, I had questions. So I'm sure you have questions while I try to pull this up.
So they found beer bottles and cigarette butts, which kind of makes it seem like someone was just chilling, having a good time back there, and the alcohol and the flames of cigarette butts. But for that to engulf an entire 8-unit building seems like a lot. Was there any other evidence of foul play? Like one of the other tenants who may be angry?
Well, so we did not rule that out, because there was the one that I had to give cash for keys, that he was concerned, the fire marshal was concerned about. But he vetted her out and said he doesn't think she did it. The samples from the fire did indicate an accelerant was used to start it, but because it was shiplap, it just took off. So that was October. November, I had to do a deposition, right? Because it's arson. So they're going to look to the owner first. And that was maybe 2.5 hours or so. I did get an attorney for that, to make sure that, you know, I'm represented, right? And I met with him previously a couple of times to just, you know, just to answer the question. If it's a yes, no question, you answer yes or no, you know. He also said during depositions, there are certain questions they cannot ask, and that is his job to make sure that they're asking the correct, you know, that they're staying within the parameters they're supposed to. So that was November. And then they, you know, they kept me in updated, just we continue to interview, you know, neighbors, look at ring footage. They thought they, you know, had someone based on the ring footage. I don't know if they caught that person or not. Those type claims have a 10-year statute. So if they find, they keep it, all that means is they keep the case open, and if they see a similar pattern from fires, you know, in Wichita Falls, they can kind of relate it back to and then charge that person for those previous fires. So the case is still open. However, when I filed the insurance claim, all that took time. So from October, the month of the loss, until July was how long it took for the insurance company to make a decision. So, as you know, the mortgage is still due. And I had a reserve, but that reserve ran out. And so that had to come out of my pocket to pay that mortgage until the insurance claim was settled. And so that took a while. And that was Lloyd's of London. And that was just the worst experience ever. I mean, they made sure that they took their time. And that part was kind of painful, like just the wait. But I'm grateful that I was able to still handle my residents and take care of myself and my mom, and still pay that mortgage, still pay the credit card bills that were, you know, charges that were incurred. So it was a journey of patience, that's for sure. So let me show you.
Did they ultimately pay you for the building?
So, so not the full limit. And the attorney that I hired to be with me during the deposition said that they definitely violated the, there's a law that the insurance company has to respond in a reasonable amount of time. And I forget the actual name of that act or that law. But he told me during the deposition to start my log. He was like, you need to log every, you know, phone call. He said, don't worry about emails. It has its own digital trail, but every phone call, who said what was the promise, you know, for the next follow-up. And so although they made a payment in July, I still went back to pursue the rest of it. And then the penalty for the the 10-month, yeah, that it shouldn't have taken. They had all they needed November 9th of 22. He said technically they had all the information that they needed from the response of the fire, from the fire marshal, from the police department, from the, the source of the fire, from my deposition, from all the documents I had to submit. They had everything that they needed. So I am going to, I was trying to find some, can you guys see that one? I feel like my screen share is really small. Okay. So that was the front. That's when I got there. Kind of the same things, but once it was all said and done, that's the aerial view. And so it started in this unit right where my crosshair is. Mm-hmm. It started right there. And so, well, now that I have this view, again, I had 4 units on this side and 4 on this side. And then I had 8 covered parking right here. And then if you can see, it's like a green door. You see green doors? Mm-hmm. There was a small bit of storage. So each parking spot had a small storage. So, and then there was parking spots here for, visitors. But man, when that fire got through that deal, that's how it left. And so it stayed like this, guys, for months, because remember, that was October. I didn't get it demolished until, I want to say March or April. So it stayed like this because I'm petitioning the insurance company to give the debris removal expense of the policy to me so I can get this thing cleaned up. So I'm literally losing sleep because I'm thinking at any moment this building is going to collapse, right? When somebody's walking by, or a strong storm, it could be anything. And I'm still liable, right? I'm still liable. That's still my lot. And so I had to fight to get the debris removal advanced. And so I got that done. And then what was the last one? Did I do it? I don't have it, the one where it was cleared. I'm sorry. But it was just a cleared lot after that. And so right now I have a third of an acre. It's like 0.35 sitting there. And, I will say afterwards, it was pretty traumatic. Once it was all like leveled and the building was gone is when I finally exhaled and just wondered, okay, what now? Where, my money is still tied up. I don't even know if I want it anymore. That, I had those thoughts. And then I was like, well, maybe a quad, start there. And then I was like, nope, I ain't doing nothing. And then, you know, I talked to Lawrence and Sharon and the crew from the class, and they were like, well, you need to rebuild. You got to rebuild. I was like, no, I don't. I don't want to, and I'm not. But after, I want to say about, so that was March, April that it was demolished. I want to say June, I started looking into some modular builders. And I was entertaining that from Maurice Philogene, because he was sharing that he knows of someone that does modular builds and she really loves it. And it's a lot quicker. It's a lot of work on the front end, but once you've made all your decisions and you approve the plans, it's pretty much hands off, and it could be built in, you know, depending on the size, how many units, it could be built in 4 months, which is unheard of if you're doing it the way we know today, which is a foundation, then the walls, then the truss, then, you know. So I started looking into that and had a couple of contacts and conversations and actual meetings with the city. To see, you know, exactly what I was zoned for, how they felt about it, and, you know, any issues that they foresee. And then I just paused. And I'm still in pause mode. I think I'm just coming out of it, sort of. What questions?
No questions, but I just want to say I understand the pause mode. This was a powerful story. Like I know you told me about the fire, but you just recounting it now just made me get all like worked up. I'm like, oh my God. Like I'm like, I know I would be exactly how you are right now. I'm like, nah, I don't want, I'm
Yeah,
not, no.
it's just like,
But
nope, I'm not doing it. Nope, I'm
yeah,
okay.
I understand needing time to decompress and mentally get yourself back together. And
Yeah.
so I just want to thank you for sharing. I could tell it was emotional, just you sharing. Um, I do got to get these girls to bed. It's
Yep,
late. It's
I
past their
know, and I'm
bedtime.
over. I'm
Before
sorry.
But
you
yeah, I'm
go,
so glad to hear.
before you go, can anybody turn the camera on, please?
Yeah, you know, he has to take his picture.
Oh, like
Manny,
this.
can you come off? Hey, Sam, you there? Bradley, can you come off and take a picture before everybody who has to go? Um, and I can say my last sentence. Bradley, you there, Bradley? Okay, everybody, take a smile. Show your pretty 32s. Sam got turned sideways. Check Sam out. So, I want to say this, Christine. Thank you for sharing your story. Right? I mean, I hear the story. You told me, like, I remember you called me the day of the fire. I mean, you called me the day of the fire, right? And I was like, what? What?
Yeah.
What? You know? And, you know, you're such a resilient woman, because I don't think many people, human being, I don't think many people just like fell back and that would have been like, they're done. Right?
Yeah.
You're
No,
not
I'm gonna.
because what's happened is, you know, she's gonna tell you that now she's looking to another avenue of creating another instrument income, right? I'm not gonna tell you what it is. That's her for her to tell, but you know, she's not stopping, right? And that goes for everybody here. Please remember, setbacks is nothing but a setup for a comeback. That's
Yeah.
all it is, right? And you got to go through to get through to become, and that's what Christine's done. Continue doing. And I want to say I'm really proud of you, Christine. Really am, because I know some folks would have folded that, been it, throw the hand in, we're done, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for coming on tonight. Also, please, I forgot to tell you about before this. Please put your information in the chat. Nicole, good seeing you. I gotta give you a call tomorrow to find out about how the boat ride went, how the water networking went on Sunday.
Bye, Nicole.
Right? Please put information in the chat. Manny, put the information in the chat. Manny J, right? Put the information in the chat. I'm gonna close off. I'm gonna end. What I'm doing is I'm gonna end the recording. But Christine, once again, thank you for coming to Christine. Appreciate you coming, right? And once again, thank you for everybody for coming on tonight on Financial Independence to Small Multifamily Investing. This is your host, Lawrence Latios, Mr. International. Thank you.